Oh, you're talking about the actual stuff, not the time. Like an official one? You're talking about an official, an architectural one? I'm talking about that's just attach and drill it, so.
Yeah, I see. That's what I
Oh,
understood. I thought you
oh,
said
that, oh, the other
And now you might want to take it off.
All right, it is 5 o'clock. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. We'll work through the agenda for our council meeting next week. We will start, if Brandy's okay, we'll start with public comment and let Brandy give us some information.
Yes, some
And Chief
information.
Thornton can also help, yeah.
So there's been a conversation.
Do me a favor. Do
Okay.
us a favor. Just for those that don't know, maybe, give your title.
Okay, Brandy Davis, I'm the Decatur Morgan County EMA Director.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So there's been some conversations in regards to the sirens, and there's a map. That's great, and it's that's wonderful. That are inside the city limits, and also the TVA sirens, which are also inside the city limits. So let me just explain this map. The green dots are the TVA sirens. The red and the blue are the Decatur outdoor warning sirens. The red and the blue are different colors only because they are different types of sirens, not because they're controlled differently. The green sirens are all TVA sirens, and they're an all or nothing system that has to be manually set off. The red and the blue are Decatur cities. They can be set off automatically through what the Weather Service puts out. Now, there is some overrides. We can manually turn those on as well. And they can be independently sounded. So that's the big difference in the sirens that you see when you're driving around the city. Conversation that we've been having the mayor, Chief Thornton, and police chief as well, in regards to coverage, etc. And I'll let Chief Thornton get into that a little bit. But basically, right now the city is covered with outdoor warning sirens that you can see, but the way that they can be controlled is completely different. You want to tell us extra?
Tracy Thornton, don't trip.
Try not to fall down.
Fire department. Hey, could you take the green circles off for just a second? Well, y'all can see the green ones. She's gonna take those off.
There.
These across the bottom and these across the top. These across the top, they will service about 4,800 feet. They're a different type. They put out the audible sound that we all have heard and know, but these also can give a voice message to anybody that can hear those. These down at the bottom that are blue, they are 6,000 feet, which will go further, but they do not do any type of voice message. So as you can see, the city of Decatur does not really have a whole lot of coverage with these sirens as they are right now. The whole middle part of the city is not covered with anything that we can activate. Last year, Mayor, I think it was last fall, we had a tornado that come through the city, and it affected the middle part, but like it wasn't in a polygon that was something that we could set an alarm off for. It moved through so quick, actually, by the time, I think it was like 4 minutes, it was from time they announced it to, it was already in Triana. Yeah, so it was like really, really quick moving. Ideally, you would want these circles to overlap, and if you put the green ones back up there, these are the TVA that they use for, for if it was an emergency at Browns Ferry. And you can see how these overlap. We got a few little gaps where they don't, but it covers the city really good. Like Brandy was saying, we cannot use the TVA warning system just like what we want to and how we want to. If TVA sets something off, it sets off they have all one and all, or if they set one off, they set them all off. There's no in between. So if they have a problem up here and they set these off, people down here, it zooms out, I think it's even some further on down this way in Morgan County, they will have a warning go off for them. So we're worried about the warning system being set off and people just getting used to it and not wanting to pay attention to it and not advising what it could be. Basically, what we come together and talked about, there's a lot of cities that are going away from this type of warning system. It's a dated type of warning system that was back in the 40s. It was made for people that were outside working, outside hanging out clothes, outside, you know, like how people used to be. We don't do that anymore. We're inside now. So, especially at night, if one of these goes off, you're not going to hear it go off at night if you're asleep, more than likely, unless you just, you know, you're really close to it. So, you know, if you was out of this area right here, you wouldn't probably be able to hear this at night if your windows shut and asleep. So, we would like to promote having multiple ways of being warned. Weather radios, there's apps. Every weather station has an app that they'll send you a million. You can narrow it down as close as you want. You can get all you want or as little as you want. The Red Cross has really good apps. There's different ways of getting warned, and we would like for people to pursue those. So if we were to try to cover the city like it needs to be, I think in the city limits, we were going to need 10 additional. And if we was going to cover city and PJ, it was going to be 19 additional units. I talked to Mr. Birdwell with Madison EMA, and they have a contract. And just for materials and labor to put up one of them, it's not for the land, it's not for electricity, not for maintenance, all that stuff. Just for materials and land is $25,000 each unit. So with cities all across the country going away from this type of technology, I think what we wanted to do tonight is just kind of let you know what's going on with it, tell you what the prices are, what it would cost, how many we need, and just look for direction, I think, as to what council would like for us to do going forward. We're not asking for an answer or anything like that tonight. It's just something we want to put on your radar and for you to be thinking about.
I thought that was really good timing with the
Yeah, time to be quiet.
alarm going off.
Yeah.
Shut up, Tracy.
Yeah.
So, you're doing some testing.
In regards to, yes, so we have, one of the things that Chief Thornton mentioned was the many different ways that you can get notifications on your phone. Morgan Alert is what our mass notification program software is called. We are actually doing a side-by-side test of a new, because Everbridge runs our current one. We're doing a testing of a new software. Would hopefully branding be everything the same, no change. It's just a matter of kind of changing out the motor instead of the whole car. But that is one of the ways we would like to promote and get the citizens to be opted in, so to speak, to that mass notification program software system, so that they would receive these notifications and wouldn't be reliant on the outdoor warning sirens as much. We should be able, and I've not had them prove it to me yet, but I have gotten a verbal from the company that we're looking to go to that we could bring Decatur on as part of what we have already established, and you would be able to control that separately. It would be your own system. And Everbridge owns Nixle, which is what you have in place now. And Everbridge is who runs ours currently, but it's a different sort of program. Everbridge bought Nixle along the way, and they don't give it as many bells and whistles as what the full Everbridge does. So they have also said that they could do a much more cost-effective means of having the full Everbridge mass notification system with ours. It's not really under ours, but it would be in conjunction with our account. So that's one of the things that I think would be good for the citizens of Decatur to be able to have that specifically for Decatur, and it not just be, you know, Morgan County. Of course, we do encourage them to sign up, because the information that they get is polygon related. So in other words, where Chief Thornton, if you could zoom out on that map, was talking about earlier. It's hard for me to get this without that. Yeah, so the area that storm that he was talking about earlier came through, clipped one, it came through, I don't even remember, it didn't clip these, it came through and just got one of, I think it
Windows
developed
60.
so quickly that it just got the one siren, and it would have been just the TVA siren, and it just, to set one off, you'd have to set 19 off. And so that was not something that we were looking at doing in that manner. And again, 4 minutes.
One other thing, just real quick about it, is we have a concern with Nixle now because it seems to be set up on a county-wide alert system. It's not by a polygon. So since we have got city limits over into Limestone County, if something north, say way north in Limestone County, had a tornado come through, people that has the Nixle alert system would be going off in the city of Decatur. And that's another thing we don't want, like we talked about a while ago, we don't want to keep telling people, hey, tornado, tornado, and it not be something that's affecting them. We want for people to know if that alert goes off, it's in their area for them to watch out for.
And then just a little bit on AWS, automatic warning.
So we have what's called iPause capabilities with our mass notification system. And under iPause as an umbrella, there is the EAS, and I just tell you with the letters that FEMA comes up with, and what we call WEA, which is WEA. So some of those go out with your TV screens, as you know, you've got the runner on the bottom, and then the others come across your phone like an Amber Alert. Depending on the level of emergency, you either you wouldn't have to opt in to the service to get that notification. So there's a list, I do have that with me, of those, and it's a little bit subjective on how you classify what you're talking about. Let me just pull that out. So what we have permission from both the state and FEMA to use our EAS or WEA capabilities for is an immediate evacuation for whatever reason, local area emergency, nuclear power plant warning, radiological hazard warning, shelter in place warning, and a test. That's our test cog there. So the local area emergency obviously is one of those things that is, you know, subjective. But that is, you know, a capability of that mass notification system.
All right, any questions anybody have? And I guess it's something we could probably promote through social media and weather radios, all those things.
So LEPC last year had a donation for weather radios, and we give away mostly in one day. We had a few spread, one spread out over the next day, but it wasn't a whole lot. Mostly in one day we give out every one we have. Ascend, give LEPC another donation, and we are setting up a day in March to give those out, coming up the next few days. I think we're waiting on the radios.
We were waiting on the radios to come in. They have come in now, surprised us, and then that'll be also in conjunction with the Red Cross as soon as we can get those dates right.
So is the plan to take the ones we have full control over offline completely? Or just let it rock and roll until they wear out, and then by that point?
I'd hate to get rid of them, if you just ask them personally, I'd hate to get rid of them.
Right.
I mean, it'd be another layer of
Right.
warning. Something we have found out since,
So the conversation, are you talking about TVA? Is that where?
well, I was going to say, for years, we have found out that, the LEPC gets money for tier 2 chemicals the city has. Well, for years, the LEPC has been paying for the electricity for one of these Morgan.
North Park Drive,
Yeah.
so that would be the most northern red.
So, that's just been coming out of the LEPC's funding, so we probably need to get that changed over where the city would, pay the electric bill. I don't think it's much of anything.
No, it's the minimum, $34,
Yeah.
whatever Joe Wheeler's minimum is.
That still comes out of that account.
Thank y'all very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, we will move into our agenda. Approval of minutes, February 13th, 2023 work session, February 20th, 2023 council work session, February 20th, 2023 council meeting. Any questions? Public hearings, ordinance 234548, approved rezoning request 141223 for property located at 4200 Central Avenue Southwest from R5, single-family patio home to an R6, single-family semi-attached residential district. Public hearing was set February 6, 2023.
Yes, this is the Glenmont Acres subdivision currently under construction, corner of Central Avenue and Pool Valley. Changing market conditions have them coming back and reevaluating that subdivision. The first two phases on the north side will remain patio homes, and they're seeking to go to townhomes on the southern side of this property. This was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission.
So the entire southern site will be townhomes?
Yes, there's the best way to think about it, there's a transmission power line that cuts across the property. Everything north of it would be patio homes. Everything south of that transmission line would be townhomes.
Not north of the road?
No,
Okay, it's the same.
same property, yes.
All right, any questions? Ordinance 234549, approved rezoning request 141323 for a tract of land from M1 Light Industry to B5 Central Business District located at portions of 400 and 500 Bank Street. Public hearing was set February 6, 2023.
Yes, a developer has acquired several properties there on these two blocks. There's a mix of M1 and B5 zonings across those properties that they have acquired. They have consolidated them all into one piece of property, and then this would complete the zoning process of getting it all a common zoning. And this was also recommended for approval by the Planning Commission.
Any questions?
Is there a historic overlay on this?
No,
No.
Yeah, it's historic
Not in the
overlay.
commercial
The
districts.
local historic overlay is only residential, but it could be within the National Register.
It's, yeah, the historic overlay is only for the residential areas.
All right. Any other questions? Resolution 23015, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 322 11th Avenue Northwest. Public hearing was set February 6, 2023.
Good afternoon. Let's see. We started on this thing back in April of 22. And it's in poor condition. It's open and unsecure. Has some structural issues. Electrical panels gone. A lot of the wiring's gone. The ceiling's falling in. Mr. Jackson had indicated prior to meeting before that someone had contacted him about possibly acquiring it to repair it or something, and we've not heard from them. We have been contacted by the family of the previous owner, and the last word that I got was that they wanted to demolish it themselves, but as of 3 o'clock today, they don't have a permit nor a signed contract with the contractor that they had indicated would probably do the work. Now, that may change before we get through with the bid process, but we'll be asking that y'all go ahead and authorize the demolition.
Okay. Any questions? All right, resolution 23046, assess costs of abatement of unsafe conditions at 406 Fifth Avenue Northwest. I'll read all these, David. Resolution 23047, assess cost of abatement of unsafe conditions at 504 Finley Drive Northwest. Resolution 23048, assess cost of abatement of unsafe conditions at 507 13th Avenue Northwest.
these are all routine demolitions. The work's been done, and this is just the assessment to help protect the city's position and help us get our money back.
Any questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Resolution 23049, declare items no longer needed by the City of Decatur Information Services Department as surplus and authorize disposal.
Brad Phillips, Information Systems Department. This is the thing we do every so often, several times a year, to dispose of equipment we no longer need. We sell it to recyclers. Some things we sell, some things we have to pay for. It usually comes out in $100, $200 either way. I may have to add to the list before the next council meeting. We had one piece of equipment we were looking at selling, or auctioning off, but everybody I've talked to has no interest in it, so it may just have to go with the recycle pile.
Okay. Any questions? Thanks, Brad. Resolution 23050, award bid number 23010 to Champion Auto Sewer Bore Champion Auto Sewer Bore to Armor's Utility Contractors.
This is to award the bid to Armor's utility contract for the sewer bore work near Champion Auto. The amount came in at $203,635.
Can we bring Charles back? Sorry.
Gladly.
Did a great job. Any questions? I know there was one bid and we may work on that in meetings, but any other questions? Thank you.
You didn't have a question, just let me see.
Yeah. Resolution 23051, approved Q-Ride agreement for Pool Valley Road realignment.
Yes, with all of the development activity that is going on there at Pool Valley and Central Avenue, a lot of the discussion that was brought up by some of the citizens surrounding it was this intersection where Pool Valley intersects 31. And so after looking at it, this will allow us to do a design to get it to a safer, more parallel alignment.
All right, any questions?
This is just the design aspect only.
This is just the engineering, yes.
It's like 60,000. All right, any questions? All right, approve resolution 23052, approve CDG proposal for outfall reconnaissance and mapping for NPDES Phase 2.
Courtney Engineering. Basically, this is just approving them to do the inspections and mapping that we need for our ADEM permits.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23053, approve 1690 Beltline Road Southwest vacation reapproval. Herman?
I guess that's me. All right.
You probably are the only one that remembers this.
Thanks for that
He's
introduction.
full of me, Mike.
Yeah. Based on that, I guess I don't have to tell who I am. Okay. All right. No. Back probably 20 years or more, we had a vacation. It's the old Blockbuster building. It's been sold after that, but that's, since we're talking history, I remember the Blockbuster.
I don't know if some of these guys know what Blockbuster was.
Well, it's there in front of Beltline Plaza. Yeah. So it's those buildings there. It used to be a health personnel group. But anyway, there is an easement that we had that was vacated back there, and it goes up under the building. The vacation was approved but never recorded. So what we have chosen to do is to allow y'all the opportunity to approve it, and then we'll record this vacation.
All right.
So that's, yeah, they're very interested in, because it does go under their building. Sure does.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23054, approved DDRA Johnston Alley Improvement Project Agreement. Kelly?
You're not gonna say you wish I was Rick?
I'm not gonna insult anyone else.
Kelly Thomas, DDRA. We are just asking the city to approve a contract between us and the city stating that we'll be the project manager for the Johnston Street Alley improvement. We'll handle all of the funds, all of the contract management, and the construction companies and subs. So
the city will maintain after completion. All right,
We
any
also
questions?
have our architect here if y'all have questions about the drawings we sent.
Yeah, and he sent us, I think, the whole council the drawings. So, any questions for John or Kelly or Jake?
I'm good.
It's exciting. I'm ready to get this thing going. So
We're glad y'all
I
are
asked if they had
excited.
started today, and you told me you didn't think so. All
I
right,
was
any
in
other
jury
questions?
duty today. so.
Resolution 23055, authorize the mayor to execute Goodwood Mills Kaywood LLC contract regarding proposed recreation center at Wilson Morgan. Jason?
Good evening, council, mayor. This contract is for the design and the construction phase of the new rec center at Wilson Morgan Park. If you look at pages 25 and 26 of the contract, they offer conceptual as well as the preliminary breakdown of the facility. This will allow us to begin the design phase of this project.
And we had signed we had gone into an agreement or something a while back that dealt with the master plan.
That's
So
correct.
you see kind of some of both of those, and this contract is specifically more for.
For
the-
building.
Yeah.
Right.
For
And,
building.
and what you see is the drawing that pretty much is in the contract
Yeah.
as far as the conceptual.
Okay, Herman?
Yeah, I'm just saying the GMC people are here in case there's other questions.
Are there questions for Jason or GMC? There may be next week.
I figured it probably would.
Resolution 23056, authorize the mayor to execute frameworks architecture agreement regarding professional services for proposed sports complex near Austin High School.
This contract is for Frameworks Architecture for them to provide architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical engineering for all building structures associated with the new sports complex. They'll also provide landscape architectural design as required for the entire complex. So this will allow us to start design of the building as long as well as the landscaping of the new sports complex.
All right, any questions on that one? I got it over here.
Would like to kind of back up on both of them. Once contracts are approved, what is the timeline for going to bid and finish construction on both?
Those will be.
Bob?
If y'all don't mind, sorry, if just kind of.
Those would be questions for
Nobody can
James.
hear on YouTube, so we go.
I'll be happy. Do I need to tell you who I am, I guess?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Bob Gray with Goodwood Mills and Kaywood. We're looking at a month of 3 or 4 weeks of programming, probably 6 weeks of schematic design, then probably 4 months to do the drawing. So about a 6-month process to do the documents. Then it's going to be a month to bid. Then however long it takes to get a contract signed for a contractor to begin. Then it's probably a 20 to 24 month project timeline, construction timeline.
And that's for the whole,
Yes.
everything we're talking about, including some of the master plan.
Yeah, and I don't want to go back on my boss here, but the contract is for the building and for the main new entrance and some site improvements, as well as the building.
Okay. 3 years, give or take.
Right,
Parking lots and all that.
right, yes. What was shown on that drawing is the scope of the work. Well, actually, that's not true. What's shown on that drawing is what the previous master planning to do some additional work, but if I need to point it out, it's the building and the main boulevard and the parking lots adjacent to that, redoing those.
Yeah. Okay, any questions? Thanks, Bob.
I can't answer the second question.
And do y'all have an idea, John, on the time frame? y'all gonna start talking about dynamite?
One thing before Blake starts though is, if you look at the conceptuals for Jack Allen and other parks, there was a lot of difference between the conceptuals and what actually was done once you got to that point. So keep in mind, all this is an estimate.
I think there were baseball fields and a rec center at the conceptual for Jack Allen, weren't there?
It's amazing how things work out.
Yeah. A few years later.
So at this point, going through assisting the city in purchasing the property initially. We've gotten surveys done, we have conceptuals done. We did some pretty involved conceptuals, earthwork, to ensure that we could accomplish what you wanted to do within the boundaries of the property. It's fairly narrow. So what you see on the screen is the product of that effort. So a lot of the master planning is done. Frankly, between the TVA line, the property boundaries, and the roadways, we don't have a lot of room to move. So we're very close to where it's going to be. There is a half-a-mile long roadway, 2 very large parking lots, a lot of utility extensions in this project, along with 8 softball fields. And that's just the civil portion of it. John and Jake with Frameworks will be doing the architectural work for the press box concession stands, and then those satellite buildings, restrooms, things of that nature. So schedule for this. This may be something, and this has not been determined yet, but it may be something that is beneficial to break into a couple of different bid packages, because you've got a tremendous amount of site work. We're probably going to deal with a little bit of rock here. We've done some extensive subsurface work here to determine where the rock is, and we have set the grades to attempt to be above the rock as much as possible. We'll still deal with it somewhat. But because of that, we're probably through the schematic phase on this. You know, we're moving along pretty good at this process, at this point. So an earthwork project that could begin in the fall, design, completion, and to get out there and start moving earthwork in the fall before the wet season gets here. You know, try to get something out to bid maybe in the August time frame, get a contract awarded in September, and then have, you know, September, October, half of November to get some earthwork done. Maybe get some portions of the project out of the wet. That would be the goal. Of course, all of that work's going to have to be done. There's a fair amount of earthwork to move, a lot of grade change. A lot of that's going to have to take place before the building projects could even begin. So my guess is that'll be a separate package that would follow the site package.
Okay. Jason, I did have one that I just wanted to say this, but, and if I'm wrong, you or Jeff, whoever, correct me, but we have said softball fields a lot, and because it's related to the Aquadome and those were softball fields, but from what I understand, we're doing synthetic fields. You can play baseball in fields up to like 12U or something. So, and I've heard through the grapevine that synthetic fields are great for tournament play because you have less rainouts and things. So it'll do more than just softball, although we're trying to replace softball fields is the goal of this project.
Right.
Is that right?
That's right. For rec play, people love it because there's just almost no more canceled games like you do with just regular grass. For tournament organizers, they really do love it because at the end of the day, it really helps them with their brackets and not having as many games canceled and that kind of stuff. So the synthetic turf is definitely something people are looking for.
Okay. Any other questions on these two? Did I even read the second one? I guess I did.
Did the second one, not the third.
I did. Oh, yes, third one. Resolution 22057, authorizing the mayor to execute Q. Wright McAnally Design Services Agreement for Sports Complex near Austin High School. We just heard about that.
This contract allows Q. Wright McAnally to start work on design. The overview listed on the page, Exhibit A, includes all aspects of this agreement. Some of these aspects are grading and drainage, which, as you know from the current Jack Allen Park, grading, it makes such a huge change as far as aesthetics of the park. So we feel like this park is going to have the same type of aesthetics. the stormwater management plan, including retention, which there's already retention ponds there, but we feel like we have to do some work there. Site utility plan, roadway plan, parking lot design, and concrete pavements and walkways. And this will allow us to start the design for that work.
Okay. All right, any other questions for Jason or anyone else? All right, thank you, sir.
Hey, I have a comment. Now, y'all have put a lot of work into this, and thank you for
Yes, sir.
doing it. The best part's yet to come.
We all have. I appreciate y'all's support and vision on this. Thank you.
All right, resolution 23058, approved designation for voting delegate and alternates for ALM business session.
In May, there's the Alabama League of Municipalities meets, general annual meeting, and we, in order to have a voting delegate there, we have to share with them who we propose to allow to be our delegate. We get one delegate. So what this does, this particular item, the mayor would be approved if he's there. If he's not, then the council president would be the one, and if he's not there, then the council president pro tem would be there. So that gives us the three options.
Okay.
And that's what it does. It's for the annual League of Municipalities meeting.
All right, thanks, Harmon. Any questions? All right, boards and committees, and I'll just read, I guess I'll read all these. Appoint Michelle Washington to the Historic Preservation Commission with term expiring March 19th, 2025. Appoint Trudy Grisham to the Historic Preservation Commission with term expiring March 19th, 2025. Appoint Caroline Duncan, or Carolyn, sorry, Caroline, whoever, to the Historic Preservation Commission with term expiring March 19th, 2024. Appoint Angie Whittington to the Historic Preservation Commission with term expiring March 19th, 2025. Appoint Phil Wyrie to the Historic Preservation Commission with term expiring March 19th, 2026. Appoint Dodie Hall to the Historic Preservation Commission with term expiring March 19th, 2024. Appoint John Allison to the Historic Preservation Commission with term expiring March 19th, 2026. And those are all the Historic Preservation Commission appointees.
Yeah, the only thing that is F, Dodie Hall, she is presently already on the Historic Preservation Commission, so I don't know that we would need to vote on her again. A lot of this was just to make y'all aware since we're splitting those, so you probably could remove F.
Okay.
Well, but if does her term, is she presently
No,
have
it's-
again March the 19th?
Yes, I mean, it's,
2024?
yeah, this is the same term. She, you know, nothing will change with Dodie.
Okay. Any questions on those? And then we have the Architectural Review Committee, appoint Ellis Chenault to the Architectural Review Committee with term expiring March 19th, 2024. Appoint Lynn Schubert to the Architectural Review Committee with term expiring March 19th, 2024. Appoint Bill Stone to the Architectural Review Committee with term expiring March 19th, 2026. Appoint Jacob Woods to the Architectural Review Committee with term expiring March 19th, 2026. Appoint Bonnie Crowe to the Architectural Review Committee with term expiring March 19th, 2026. Any questions on those? They all look there. All right, we have our council meeting next week, pre-meeting 5:30, council meeting at 6. Alan has something.
Yeah, Alan Stover, Community Development Department. Community Development has been in communications with Parks and Rec about the old bank. There's some cracks that are in the interior walls that have been a concern for us. And we've talked about doing a historic structure report. We've talked about trying to get that in maybe at mid-year. But with that, the architect was up on another issue in Huntsville, so Caroline took him by and looked at it. He's, in his opinion, that the wall is twisting some, don't know why. The only thing that we do know is that those cracks are getting bigger. And as a result, we think that it may be as a result of the fact that the stairs, when the building was built, probably was not intended for all the traffic that now going up and down those stairs with visitors. So we would recommend, until we get that historic structure report, that we limit access to the second floor in the old bank. Caroline has been in communications with the state. We do think that we've got like a $12,000 grant that we can apply for, that we would ask maybe that we add to Monday's meeting, just to allow us to apply for that grant, which would help us offset some of those costs. The cost for the structure report is going to be somewhere around $55,000. So that $12,000 would offset that sum. But I guess just as a form of, to make you aware, to make the public aware, that we would ask, and we've talked to Herman, we just feel like it may be best if we just limit access to that upstairs until we find, it's rather be safe than sorry.
I'm definitely good with adding the application for the grant. If we can go down that road and get it, I'm fine with adding the cost to an agenda before mid-year if we need to do that, because I think there may be a time frame issue on getting the grant and using it.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any problem with that. Any questions for Alan?
Good.
All right,
Thank you.
sir. Lee, did you have something?
Yes, just to make you all aware, the One Decatur Comprehensive Plan requires a yearly update by the Planning Department to the Planning Commission. That took place at our last Planning Commission meeting. They voted to formally accept the update for the year. So it is available. We're going to be putting it up on the One Decatur website, and I will be sending out a copy to all of you. It's just our check and making sure that we're continually working on the One Decatur objectives.
Okay. All right, thanks, Lee. Anything else from directors, managers, anybody else? All right, thank y'all. We're adjourned.